Hi, and welcome back to That's So Nova. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back. Today we're going to be doing a tutorial for the Baby Belle bucket bag. This bag is super cute, and Alexis again did another bag that knocks it out of the park. This bag has kind of a choose your own adventure bag. You have a choice to make this bag with or without a flap. There are two flap options. There is a turn lock option. Some of the testers in the group, including myself, done a thumb lock. I've seen some testers use a magnetic snap for the flap. There's so many different options you can use. There's also, you can choose whether or not you're going to be using a recessed zipper. There's endless possibilities to make this bag. The thing that I love about this bag is that this is the first bucket bag I've ever seen that has a flap over it. Usually I only see the flap if it's a drawstring bucket bag, but not a bucket bag itself. So the flap is personally my favorite, and that's the style I'm making today. There are a couple different strap options. There are the two straps options, like you'll see here. That's the style we're going to be making now. There's a one singular and there's a rolled handle. I desperately wanted to make the rolled handle today, but unfortunately I ordered my hardware too late and it did not make it in time to do this video. And trust and believe, the girl waited to the last minute because I really wanted to show you it. So let's break down some of the anatomy of this bag. This is the bag without a flap. It is super cute. You have a nice oval bottom. You're going to have a bag that you can feature some beautiful prints with. I chose this. I chose this print because I haven't actually shown this print, the avatar print, ever. So, and I had some cute hardware. As you can see, you have a unique recessed zipper. Inside, you have two zipper pockets with two slip pockets in a nice oval base bottom. You have, of course, your classic crossbody bag. And here you can see that there is four rivets. There are going to see, and if you look at the testers, some testers did it with two, some did it with four. I'm going to show you what the method the designer said will be easier to do with four, but I can show you how you can do it with two and four when we get to that part. We have a, sorry, I'm trying to untwist my own chaos, which of course I twisted up on camera. Then we have your little recessed zipper that you're going to zip up, and you have a beautiful bucket bag. And I love the handles like this. I think this is so classy to any bag that I definitely did it to this one. But if you don't like this style, you could do the singular strap and it'll look just as well. But I do love the style of the two double straps. So I did the flap with this wicket bag. This bag has my heart. I used a fancier end caps instead of the regular ones. And you guys may know this hardware you can purchase at Mormino, this one. But these end caps I got from Fireweed Stitch. And this hardware comes from, this is a magnet that I used as a decorative plate in the front. I did a green stitching because this is a wicket. I was filling my alphabet self, and this hardware comes from Alchemats. The reason why I don't list all the hardware, because I know somebody might come 6 months from now ask me, where did you get this hardware, is because sometimes this hardware are only available for a few weeks and they're not available again for many months or ever again. So I don't list all the hardware sources I have because sometimes it's only for that moment and it's gone. This is a thumb lock that I got from, I believe, from Emmeline Bags. And as you can see, we have a nice recessed zipper. You open it up, again, two slip pockets, two zipper pockets, as well as your crossbody bag. And I did a mixture of cotton with waterproof canvas. And that's the same thing I'm going to do today. I feel like sometimes waterproof canvas lays okay, but not as well as cotton does. So we're going to get into it. First, you need to buy your pattern. If you haven't bought your pattern, I'm going to have a link down below as well as in the first pin line in the comments. If you buy your pattern through this link, I get a small kickback. It's an affiliated link. If you already bought your pattern, don't worry. It's okay. Just get your pattern and your pattern pieces ready. Alexis has a lot of prepping, so make sure you do all your preparation and fuse everything how it's been told to fuse, and then we're going to get this party started. The first thing you're going to do is we're going to go to page 16, and we are going to do your connectors. Your connectors are going to wind up looking like this. So we have a full piece of connector, and we are going to trim about 1/8 of an inch at an angle to the non-stabilizer end of the connector. We're going to then take double-sided tape and put it down the middle. Press that in. So we're going to butt up the edges as best as we can. And then when I get to the top, I'm going to butt up the edges there too. It's going to feel not right at first, and then it just kind of comes together. All right. Once we have that, we're going to start at the shorter edges that we rounded off, and we're going to back stitch and go 1/8 of an inch all the way around. And back stitching at the beginning and as well as the end. All right. So now that we have these two pieces together, I'm just going to put a clip on them so they stay together, and we're going to put them to the side. So we're going to retrieve our straps. Like I said, I'm going to do the double strap. Our double strap is going to be just like how we do the crossbody strap. So this is going to be how we're going to do both of these. You're going to grab your crossbody strap, and if you're doing the double strap or even the single big one strap, it's going to be 3 inches by the width that are in the length by the length in the cut chart. So you're going to take your strap, you're going to put double-sided tape down the middle. You don't have to put double-sided tape. Some people like to fold them in and then clip it and fold, because some machines are a little bit more finicky when it comes down to double-sided tape. I'm trying to leave a small gap of 1/8 of an inch down the middle so that when I fold this onto itself, it doesn't have any issues. If you hear noises up above, that is Loki. If you're new to my channel, I have a Great Dane Cane Corso, or if somebody's going to correct me, it's Kanye Corso. But for me, I'm just going to call him a Cane Corso mix, and he's big and he makes a lot of noise. We're going to fold this onto each other. Now, the difference between this strap versus the crossbody and the regular strap is that we're only going to sew down one side at 1/8 of an inch with your crossbody strap or the regular strap for the crossbody strap, or if you picked to have the regular strap for the handle, you're going to sew 1/8 of an inch all the way around, all 4 sides. But if you're picking like the 2 little straps, we're only going to do it 1/8 of an inch on the side that's folded over. And I'm going to back stitch. And you could put clips. It helps to have clips, especially if you have your vinyl has any stretch. Like this particular vinyl I got from it was upholstery vinyl. That's why it looks like an old sofa. I love this vinyl. When I run out of it, I'm going to be super sad, because it was I got it from like Ethan Allen's, and they're no longer in that location. That's a little hot tip. Sometimes when the furniture stores go out of business, if they do like repairs and stuff, they sometimes have vinyl or faux leather that is like too small for like repairs, and they sometimes just give it away. It can be big enough for a bag or wallet. All right. So let's hop on over to the table over here. So it's really funny because me and Alexis differ from this greatly. I always like to do my straps last because I feel like it is a victory moment that, yes, we're done. She likes to do them first, I guess, to make sure that we don't run out of bobbin. But, so here we go. We're going to do our handles first, and that's your pack 1. If you did all the prep work, you did all of your interfacing stabilization, and you did your handles and your straps, then you broke down, you have pack 1, pack 2, pack 3, and 4, and 5, and 6. Pack 1 is your handles. So let's get done. Let's do these handles first. Okay. So the double strap handle, we're going to be putting to the side, and we're going to be focusing on the cross body. Okay. Now, on the crossbody, we need to fold our strap 1.5 inches in. Now, what I like to do, because I hate measuring 1.5 inches in, I like to take a piece of chalk, and I like to fold and draw 3-inch mark on with a piece of chalk. Then I'll take my swivel hook. Then I'll take my swivel hook, put it on, and fold it to that mark. Now, on the instructions, she says that we need to punch a hole that is 5/8 of an inch in. So I'm drawing that, and the hole's going to be punched right here. I'm going to get my hole punch. And do the sew or swivel, because my hole punch sometimes never punches through the second layer of anything. And I think it still hasn't. I'm sorry. Sometimes you have to laugh because it's easy to get frustrated, but it's sometimes you just have to, things are out of your element, out of your control, and you just go with it. So I'm going to take my medium size rivet, set it, and then I'm going to take it over to my press and set it. It feels like audibly I can feel 2 pushes, and then it's set. Now, what we're going to want to do is make sure that our strap is unbelievably straight, and we're going to want to take our scissors and get that raw edge, and then we're going to take our slider. We're going to feed it through our slider up and over. Now, we're going to want to make a big loop, because the next step we're going to do is take one of our swivel hooks, and we're going to feed our swivel hook through the open part that's right here. Then we're going to take this open part, and we're going to feed it through the slider again. We're going to go in and out. And we're going to want to fold this over about 1.5 inches as well. Now, if you wanted to ahead of the time, you can draw your 3-inch mark. So I'm going to take this out again for the people that may be confused about what I did. All right, so we did one in with the swivel hook, and you're like, Shinova, we don't do things this way. Yes, we do. With Alexis's patterns, we've always done it this way. So I'm going to take on the opposite end, like we did before, is I'm gonna draw a chalk mark that is 3 inches. Okay. This is the right way. This is the pretty side. This is the side that we just punched. We're going to keep our strap straight. This is the side that we're going to fold in. So I'm going to take my slider, feed it in, and thread it out. So now we have a loop. We're going to take our swivel hook, feed it in, and then we're going to thread it again. In, and I'm just trying to give it a little bit of slack so you can move and out. And I can see the chalk mark right here. It's faded, but I can see where I want it to fit at the halfway point. And then I can kind of bend the bar around. This is 1.5 when I fold it over. And this is where I'm going to measure 5/8 of an inch in. Because you could put your hardware on here. And hope this punches all the way through. Swivel. It kind of did, but not through that last layer. And then I'm going to thread my rivet. Hold on, I gotta get a different cap. This cap is not wanting to work. Sometimes you get a bad one. There we go. And then I'm going to set it. Oh, there we go. Now we just move this up. And we have our adjustable strap. All said and done. It's a different way. You just have to be open to it. Sometimes we get stuck in one way and we're not willing to try. I just implore you to give things a chance because it's always good to learn something new. All right. So now we're not doing the rolled handle. So we're going to skip page 24 and we're going to go directly to page 25. So we want the inside of our handles to be where our 1/8 of an inch stitching is. I'm going to go get my pen, my chalk pen again, and my ruler. And we're going to draw 3-inch chalk marks because we're going to fold these in by 1/2 inch too. All right, so the first thing that's really important on this is we're going to be folding in our swivel hooks on here. So they're going to be on here and it's going to be folded over in half on here. So I'm going to kind of snip away these burrs. All right. You want to feed them in, and then you kind of want to place them down, and you want to leave enough room to have them to be screwed in. This needs to get screwed in, and then we also need to put a rivet. So I'm going to feed this part in first. We're going to screw these in. And it's just like your regular end caps or any of them. Just take your time. Have the little eyeglass case screw is the best. It could be aggravating to do this part, but it's worth it. And just make sure everything is nice and straight. Sorry. And we're going to do that on the other side, making sure everything's nice and straight. I'm really liking this antique copper against this like really antique brown. Oops. Okay, hold on. Well, let me take, because there's nothing more that I despise than putting on hardware after you put on yeah, make sure your hardware's on. Sometimes it's hard to slide those in when you have thicker hardware. All right. So this is going to hit that 1/2 inch mark. So we need to mark the rivets needs to have to hit at 5/8 of an inch on the fold. Okay. And the hardware needs to go in between them. And my chalk, this is my love and hate between chalk, is that it like disappears so quickly. All right. Okay, so we're punching a hole, and we're punching a hole. Okay. And then we're going to set them. We have one. And then we're going to do the same thing to the other. And the other one, the hardware just slid off, so and that's and we're done with that. So we have this beautiful double strap detail. Like, you can't tell me this is not gorgeous. Like, I kind of want to do this detail with every straps now. All right, so now we're going to get over to start making the bag. All right. So we did the details of the straps. Now we're going to start getting into the bag making part. So get out your pack 2, and we're going to start with putting the trim on. All right. So we're going to put the trim on, and make sure you have the right trim. There is the lining trim and there is the exterior trim. They are different in size, not by a lot, but just enough to count. Make sure you backstitch on all your rear seams in the beginning and the end. And if you don't know, I'm an over clipper by far. So we're going to start at 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to backstitch 2 stitches and go forward. Let's see. Okay, and then we're going to do this to the second one. Backstitching 2, locking it in. Exactly 3/8 of an inch. Make sure that you do exactly and that your needle bar doesn't push it out less. Okay, then we're going to trim the top trim seam allowance to 1/8 of an inch. Only the top trim. All right, so then we're going to use some double-sided tape. And put it on here where we just did trim the top trim. We're going to put it on the area that we didn't trim. and remove it and fold over the trim. And just like finger press it, or you can use a seam roller. Okay, and then we're going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch on the top trim. Back stitch. Beautiful. You guys are doing a good job. There's nothing more that I like a really beautiful back stitch. And not back stitch, top stitch. Well, I like back stitches too. Don't trip. In my eyes, if I see a good back stitch, all that means is I see security. And I like that. I'm trying a new position in the camera going down the side because I've heard people saying they want to actually see the needle, machine going the needle versus an aerial going directly down. So let me know. All right, so we're going to do your name plating. If you don't have a plating for your a handmade name tag, this you can just keep going and not look at this part. But if you do have a name tag, then this is where we're going to put it. We're going to pick either one of your panels. It could be your front, your back, either however you feel fit. We're going to go and put this on. We're going to mosey on over to go 2 stitches in, 2 centimeters up before cedar, why do I say centimeters? 4 inches in, but 2 centimeters tall. So, oh my gosh, dude. We're going to go 4 inches in and 2 inches up high. I'm going to just put a little mark because I keep saying centimeters like nobody's business. And I'm just going to then move my prongs. And I'm just, I'm sorry, I'm laughing. Why am I saying like, I've been hanging out with my Canadian friends a little too much, I think. They're like probably going to be laughing as soon as I let them know I said centimeters in the video instead of inches. I'm just going to then mark my placements and just make a little slit. You can use a awl, or you can use whatever is available to you. Seam ripper. Some people like using the seam ripper because you have like better control than scissors or a lot of other things. It would help if I put Nova's Knits the right side. So I'm going to then get my washer. And put something back. So we have our nameplate. Okay. So now we're going to put in our, if you're doing a turn lock with me, this is where I'm going to teach you how to do it. If you're going to do one that doesn't have a flap, you can skip a little bit ahead because we're going to do the flap part on this. So if you're doing a turn lock with me, then we're going to be installing the Belle part. Now, this is solely up to you. You can have your front have your logo or your back. I personally like to have my back to be the logo, so I'm going to make this my front. So your logo needs to be you need a gridded ruler. You need to go 2 inches up from your center. Okay, so what I like to do is find my center. While I'm down here, I'm just going to do a little snippety snip. Sorry, I'm going to turn on the light a little bit brighter. And if we're using it a different look, you have to do it. So from this, we need to measure 2 inches up from the bottom edge of the top trim. So this is the top trim. We need to do 2 inches from the top trim. So I'm just going to make a little mark. I'm going to get my 2-inch ruler. Because I have this folded in half, and I just want to make sure that it stays there. And I'm using the mel portion. Again, I'm going to mark my prongs with a silver pen, and then I'm going to use my... It's kind of hard because we're working with Peltex and woven interfacing, so it's kind of hard to do it, but I'm still using my seam ripper. I don't think it went through. Alright, I got that. Now I'm going to get the prongs, washer. Alright, and then I'm going to have the hardware fold onto itself. That's how I just like prefer it, so no one can finagle it to slip out. Alright. Alright, we have that all settled. Then we're going to just have this out of the way, and we're going to start working on the flap. On the flap, you need both pieces, your lining and your exterior. You need them to be right sides together. I'm going to clip them at the top. And we're going to sew these at 3/8 of an inch. Three-eighths of an inch all the way around. Back stitch at the beginning and at the end. And make sure you pivot, when you pivot, like you pivot with the needle down. Because at the top, there's like, it kind of has a weird like water bottle, hot water bottle shape. And right here, I'm going to slow down and pivot. All right. All right, I'm going to get my pinking shears, and I'm going to pink it to 1/8 of an inch all the way around except the top opening. If you're using thread that blends into your fabric, I highly suggest you do this part in a well-lit room because it's really easy to accidentally pink into your stitching because it's, you have blended threads. So we're just going to turn this right sides out. And I'm just going to get a chopstick and just press out all the seams. Oops, sorry. Metal on metal is not the best sound. I apologize. Let's see. So we're on page 29, and we're going to top stitch this all the way around at 1/8 of an inch. Back stitching. Alright, now we're going to install the female lock part. So we're going to unscrew . And separate. All right, we're going to mark, and we're going to find our center. That's always the most important step. I'm going to use a pencil. I'm going to do it from the cotton side. Just fold it again. All right. I'm just going to like draw out. But I want it to be as even as possible. If it looks like, when you draw it, of course it had to fly out. If you're tracing it out and it looks like it's kind of tilting to the side, that's pretty much what it's going to look like. So try to get it as even as possible from the beginning. So it could be even on your flap. And then we're going to snip into it. This is the part that's always the most stressful because no one wants to snip into the work that they just did. If you make a mistake, you can always make a patch to go around it. Worst case scenario, you have to make another flap. I have to cut a little bit more. Cutting little by little is the way to go. All right, so I have to cut a little bit more on this side. I think I got it. Okay. And then what I would like to do is add a little bit of fray check if I could find it. But if I can't, then it is mag tack all the way, because I have cotton on this side and I don't want it to fray. I'm not putting it in the lock, I'm putting it around the cotton so it doesn't fray anymore. Usually I just use a lot of fray check. Okay. If this was just waterproof canvas, I wouldn't use anything. But when I'm working with cotton, you want to help it not like shred or fray. All right. That's so cool. All right, we're done with that part. It's easy peasy, see? And then it adds a little bit of, like, jazz. All right, so now we're gonna, now we have the lock fully done, we're gonna put a little, put a little 1/8 of an inch double-sided tape on the front of our flap right here. And we're going to grab the back piece of our exterior. And again, I'm going to make a mark, and I'm just going to, if you go down here, you're going to see that we're going to be putting this about centering it a 1/2 inch down from the side, the bottom, the top trim. So I'm just going to put a mark here so that way I know where the center is. All right. So what we're going to do, our next steps is we're going to center this a 1/2 inch down from the half trim, from the trim on top. So I'm going to find my center. Just want to make sure. And I'm going to take my center mark here and line it up. And then we're going to sew the panel down 3/16 of an inch to ensure that all layers are caught up. So, yeah. I'm backstitching. But don't backstitch onto, you're backstitching onto the flap, not onto the panel. Right onto the edge of the flap. Okay? So let me move all these utensils out of the way. Then we're going to flip our flap. Sounds weird. And then she's using a hammer. I have a hammer. There we go. She's using a hammer and she is gently pounding down the corners because we're going to sew a 3/8 inch of a I knew the dogs were going to bark. I apologize. We're going to sew a 3/8 of an inch mark, a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance right here on top, but we're going to take the 3/8 of an inch and we're going to pull the threads to the back. So I'm going to draw the 3/8 of an inch line, and I can use a pen later to remove this line. And we're going to start with long threads and in with long threads and pull the threads to the back. So do not backstitch. Okay. That's my dog. This is just water to remove the silver pin. I have a tendency of trying to remove the marks like the minute I make them, or I'll forget about it. So we're going to get a stiletto or a needle or whatever you have to do to pull those threads. Okay. I'm just going to tie one knot with all four. All right. And now we're going to start constructing the exterior of our body. So we're going to take both pieces and we're going to trim our sides just to help alleviate some of the bulk just in this area. If this is going to bother you, you always got to take a piece of tape and just like tape it down too. I just try to, with areas that are flaps that we're leaving long tails, I just try to give it the most anchoring as possible. All right. This is the most important part to me, is making sure these areas match. So I always clip those first, and once I clip those, then I'm going to clip the top to make sure I can anchor it. And this is the one time I would do the staple rule. I don't like staples, but when it comes down to seams and things getting shifty, this is where I would staple at. I would have one staple and one staple only. I don't like staples, not just to not like them. I had like a really traumatic thing happen when I was younger. During I was at my grandparents'. I don't know what, if it was like, we were in San Pedro, California. I don't know if it was just, I don't know what we were doing. I don't know if it was like a politician thing. I just remember they were doing like tons of posters, and I was stapling stuff, and we were about to go like, you know, put things on the poles and staple things together. And for some odd reason, little Shinova thought, hey, we're going to sew these down at 3/8 of an inch. Little Shinova thought, like, cool, let me play around with this staple thing. I thought I was apparently like Clint Eastwood, and I somehow stapled my hand to a pole. Don't ask. And I also, during that same day, stapled my knee. So I have an unhealthy fear of staples. Well, it's a healthy fear, so. And I'm also, I don't like the sound on metal, like, at all. And I know I would sew over a staple. So we're back stitching. All right. So we're going to be doing some trimming. So we're going to be trimming 1/8 of an inch, but we're going to leave the sides at 3/8 of an inch. Now I kind of did the sides on the bottom at 3/8 of an inch too. Hear me out. So I kind of trimmed all of this at 1/8 of an inch. But like kind of left these parts that I have to fold over at 3/8, because it just I always think it helps when you're doing the bottom part. But that's just me. You can do 1/8 of an inch. It's purely up to you. It just helps me when I'm trying to get a perfect round bottom. And this is what we're going to be doing next, is we're going to be doing the bottom of the bag. So we want to make sure we have accurate centers. So we have our side seams, right? And the reason why I keep, that's the reason why I keep them, is that we could butterfly them and have like a more even distribution of weight. And so I'm going to cut a notch for this and this. All right. So let's get into this bottom. I have my notches that I did in my pre-cut. Okay, cutting any excess woven interface that was put on, because sometimes I cut my woven interface pieces a little bit bigger. All right. So we're gonna clip all the 4 points. Yeah, you're going to see me overclip. No, I'm not using staples. This is not the video for you if you want staples. But if you're like, hey, Shova, how do you get that perfect round bottom? And I'll say, it's my jeans. But then I'll tell you, it's like, I'm an overclipper. Let's see. That's my dog again. He likes to be by the vent, so there's not a lot I can do about that. If I'm in the basement, he's 9 times out of 10, he's in the vent above me. He's really cute though, so if you follow me, you watch my Captain Logs, then you know a great deal about Loki and his shenanigans. Like, Shova, how many clips can you put on here? Not enough, because this bad boy is not moving when I'm sewing. Now, if you have a domestic machine, and again, this is made for a domestic machine too, please. I've said this a million times, but I'll say it a million more times. Alexis, the designer of this beautiful bags, the designer of the 9 bags you're going to see that she's going to show you in her group, they're all made on a domestic machine. You can do this, especially if you have an area where your machine can make it a free arm on your domestic. This will be a cakewalk. If you have a flatbed machine, this is going to be a little bit interesting. And I'm glad that I'm able to show you a little bit of how I'm going to do it. I'm going to shove this into my machine. And while I'm shoving this into my machine, I'm going to pivot, tilt, and take 1 clip at a time. This is 3/8 of an inch. See how I'm just like, oops, like I'm pivoting it? That's how this is how it all starts. This is my best friend, a stiletto. I open up 1 or 2 clips. I'm going to hit that 3/8 of an inch mark. I'm going to use my stiletto to make sure no fabric shifts. I'm going to hold onto my threads. It's an impossible position. It's like I'm doing yoga with my hands, but here we are. And then I'm going to backstitch. I'm going to take off a clip And wherever I take off the clip, I'm holding that stiletto in its place, making sure that all raw edges are the same and nothing is getting shifty. And I'm going to breathe because I know this is going to be the longest part of my bag, but this is the part that people like or want to see. They're going to want to see the bottom of my bag, and I don't judge them. I know they want to see it. Heck, I want to see other people's bottoms of their bags. It is what it is. I'm making sure that this area stays nice and butterflied open, so that way it's evenly. See how I'm not caring about my bag? I'm just like pushing it. It's okay. It'll bounce back. There are some people in our testing group that got to test with by Annie foam and they loved it. So if you have that at home and you're like, because I hate Peltex, okay, it's cool. By Annie foam is a serious contender. I'm not gonna lie though, I'm kind of feeling Peltex again. You'll see when we turn this bag out, you're gonna be like, what? And I'm gonna be like, I know. I said the same thing when I seen the first one. I was like, Peltex for the win. Okay, make sure you're breathing and not hyperventilating or holding your breath until the stitching gods are done with stitching this part. Alright. We did it! Alright. So, if you did staple, it's time for you to unpick those staples. Peace be with you, because like that is like a chore to me. So we're going to trim, and I know she trims with a regular one. I trim because it is a curve, so I do trim with the pinking shears. It is an oblong shape, and I just feel like any shape that is not squared, I pink. This is just how my brain works. Like, I guess you could do the straight, but I don't know. You can do it just straight, but I have no idea why my brain does this. I just do what I do. I try not to question it. I'm like, okay. Alright, so we're going to do something, and it's going to feel weird, because this is a drop-in lining, so you're just going to have to roll with it. We are going to turn this right sides out. You got this, okay? Just whoop, turn this in. Go fast. Just go fast. You got this. You got this. I seem like I didn't go fast. I get you. You got it. Push out those seams. Use your digits. Roll those seams out. What? This is looking beautiful. Look at this. This is a bad mamma jamma. You can't tell me. What? What? I already want this bag and it's not even done. You should feel the same. Feel proud of yourself. You're halfway through this. Okay. So we're going to take some double-sided tape and we're going to like wrap it all the way around here. You can put like individual double-sided tape on the sides, but I like to just butterfly them open and just run a piece of double-sided tape. And so when I get over there, I just butterfly that open again. All right. So when you do this, when you put the double-sided tape in here, you're going to then remove the double-sided tape and fold over the top trim to wrap around the stabilizer. This is the stabilizer. So I'm gonna whoop, and we're gonna just wrap it around the stabilizer. Just take your time. You might have to finesse the bag in different directions. It's fine. If it's being a little finicky, that's the great thing about double-sided tape. You can unstick it and stick it again. All right. So we're going to be start working on our lining. So I'm going to put like some heavier clips on this that are not going to leave like indentations, because who wants that? So on the sides where it's going to be more likely to lift up because it's a little bit bulky, I'm putting like these binder clips that have like plastic on it, and I'm just going to leave it be. So I'm just going to do this, put it to the side, and we're going to start working on the lining. The lining is going to feel very natural to you. It's kind of like the typical Oro Rosa way. We're going to do one, and then we're just going to replicate it. All right, so you're going to need your 8-inch zipper. You're going to need your main lining piece, your 2 side wings, your top lining piece, and then your front, okay? But you have multiple. You have 2 sets of these. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get your lining zipper lining. You're going to have that right sides up, okay? You're going to get your 8-inch zipper, and you're going to find your centers. I put little silver marks right here. We're going to sew that at 1/8 of an inch on there. Cool. Cool. Then we're going to get our zipper pocket. We're going to get our zipper pocket front, and whatever the top directional is, like my top directional, this is Elvis writing, the little accent pieces on the top are the top. If I do it this way, it's the wrong way, and the writing's all backwards. So I have to make sure the top directional goes onto the top of the zipper teeth. So I'm going to take this and place it right here on top. I'm going to sew this now at 3/8 of an inch. So the zipper tape is being right sides with the zipper pocket front. All right. We're just going to kind of finger press this. You can use an iron too. If you use an iron on waterproof canvas, just make sure you do it on the right side. So on here, we're going to top stitch just at 1/8 of an inch. Oh, I did not want bobbin chicken. Okay, hold on. That's not a bad place to lose it. At least it wasn't like top stitching. All right. I'm going like a few stitches where it went off, and then I back stitch, and now I'm going again 1/8 of an inch, trimming all those threads. All right, we're still on page 36. We're going to take the bottom piece and we're going to match it to the bottom piece. We're going to take the right side of the bottom piece and match it to the wrong side of the zipper. So sorry, we're going to take the right side of the zipper lining piece and put it to the wrong side of the zipper and we're just going to clip it. Okay. And we're going to base that in place on the top part of the zipper at using a 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay. Now we're going to grab our main lining piece. Again, we need to pay attention to directions. The top of the directional needs to be facing down. We're going to sew our 3/8 of an inch with the bottom of the directional facing. So here's my directional print. It's going to be facing down, and I'm going to be sewing the directional print right here. So I should be seeing my direction facing away from me. 3/8 of an inch. All right. This is one of my favorite parts. Alexis says this a lot. We're going to take this, and you're going to see your beautiful zipper right here. We're going to flip this over, and this is our seam allowance. You can see that this is where we just sewed the 3/8 of an inch. You can see your little zipper pocket right here. We're going to take this and we're going to fold over. We're going to see where you see the wrong side of the zipper lining. We're going to fold it over to the zipper, and we're going to kind of create kind of like a little shelf, a little nice little edge. Now, I know some people have difficulties with this part, so let me show you it again. So it's just, we're just using the 3/8 of the inch line to create this edge. You should, at this point, should have your zipper tape, your lining, and your, the interfacing and the lining part for your main lining. So you're just using this 3/8 of the inch seam allowance to create this. So just fold it in nice and tight. You can now iron it if you want, but when you take it to the machine, you're going to be top stitching it in 2 locations. 1/8 of an inch away from the zipper, and then 1/8 of an inch from the edge, right? So when you take it to the machine, this is how you can kind of tell if you did it right or not. When you top stitch it 1/8 of an inch away from the zipper, the edge should be exactly 3/8 of an inch away. You should be hitting that line 3/8 of an inch. If it's more than that, then one of your seams or allowances is out of proportion. Whether your seam allowance on your zipper was a 1/2 inch, or if you did not fold it over nice and firmly, from there, that it's a little disproportion. Okay. All right. So from here, we're going to just fold. We're going to move these 2 pieces out of the way because we need to close up our lining pockets. We're going to sew 3/8 of an inch down. We're not trying to sew onto the zipper placket at all. We're just trying to sew onto the lining pieces and that's it. So just bring it over to your machine, sew exactly 3/8 of an inch. Okay. And then we need to trim it down to 1/8 of an inch. Kind of just cutting it into the side and then trimming it down. This helps reduce bulk in the next couple steps. So what we want to do is get a zipper. And we want to get our side plackets. We want to put our zipper pull on, and you can put your zipper pull on any direction because the bag, you're going to be creating the same zipper pocket, slip pocket system for both sides. So it doesn't really matter which side you put your zippers on because the bag has it on both sides. You can have both your bags going to the left. You can have one bag going to the left and right. Both bags going to the right. It's really user's choice. So we're going to fold this over, but we are folding this over so it can meet its side, the side panels. Once you have this fitting right for your side panels, clip it into place. And let's do the other side. All right, and we're going to sew 3/8 of an inch, back stitching the beginning and the end. All right, we're going to do that on the other side. Okay. And then you're going to want to trim your side panels down to 1/8 of an inch. And then you're going to want to top stitch 1/8 of an inch onto the side panels. All right. We're more than halfway done, guys. We're almost there. So you definitely want to do this for your, do this again for the other panel, and then you're going to want to trim any little angles on the side, like on figure 41, just to help reduce bulk. And we're going to find our centers. They're going to be important for some of the final steps for the lining. All right. I'm going to leave that there, and I'm going to grab part of pack 4. On pack 4, you're going to need your zipper panels, and you're going to need your top lining edges, your top panels, zipper panel lining, and then zipper tape, of course. So when you have your pieces in front of you, you want them to face the wrong sides. You want them to have their pairing. So you're going to want to make sure that you have each set facing the wrong sides, facing each other. You're going to draw a 3/4 of an inch line down on the bottom, similar to on page 41, figure 151. Once you have that, you're going to remove the double-sided tape. I drew my 3/4 of an inch using pencil. I like to use a mechanical pencil or number 2 pencil because it does not bleed on the fabric. And then you're going to put that in there. You're going to grab your 10-inch zipper, your zipper tape, and you're going to separate it. Before you do that, you're going to grab your pieces and you're going to match them. Because remember, you have mirror sized pieces. Once you have them matched, you're going to make sure that they fit nicely, and then you're going to sew the top of one, matching them, making sure that they match on the bottom of the nice fold ends. And you're going to sew the top end at 3/8 of an inch. All right, my machine decided to get all weird. All right, so we're going to sew the top that does not have the folded in edge at 3/8 of an inch. Back stitch well at the beginning and the end. I'm actually back stitching off. All right. All right. So then you're going to separate your zipper teeth, and you're going to take your zipper teeth and you're going to fold them over. So the way I like to fold over is I kind of like fold the zipper tape. I take the teeth and I kind of fold it on itself like a triangle. Then I fold it back, take the zipper tape back, this triangle, and fold it on back to the wrong sides of the zipper tape. When I have that, I have like this perfect curve. So I'm going to do it again. Right side of the zipper teeth, I fold it at an angle, and then I just take that and fold it back. Okay, now from this you can do a couple different things. I usually like to get a needle and thread and just whip stitch it. I'll take a I'll take a pin, stick it in here, and just like whip stitch it, just like whoop, 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 right? There are people that like to take fire and then singe it. There's a couple different methods. I also like to take mine, and while it's in here, I'll just sew it in place. That's what I did on this side. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do now is that we have this. We're going to now put our zipper in here. We're going to butt this right up to the edge and kind of fold it over. And then we're going to just clip it into place, making sure the zipper tape is right to the edge. Just clip it in place. All right, I'm going to sew this at 3/8 of an inch. Back stitching well at the beginning and at the end. Okay, I forgot to tell you that we were supposed to trim down this part here to 1/8 of an inch, but we're doing it now. And then we're going to trim this at an angle where the zipper tape is, not cutting into your zipper tape teeth, just trimming it to reduce bulk. All right, and then we're going to trim away any zipper panel lining with the seam allowance. Just do not trim zipper tape, and I'm going to trim around the zipper tape head. I find it easier for it to poke out, not the tape, just around this area. All right, so then I'm going to flip this out. I'm going to gently pull on the zipper teeth to get this coming out, and then I'm going to just use a chopstick and just kind of get into the area that I couldn't really reach. Just clip this together to make sure it's all even, and then I'm going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch all the way around. I'm stitching around this part to ensure that I have all the pieces is in one unit. You know what I mean? So it just makes your life a little bit easier knowing that something's not like falling behind. So I'm going to fold this together, and I'm going to find my center. The center piece that I found just kind of flew off. So this part's interesting. So you're going to have to, you might want to watch, then do it, fill me out. Okay, we're going to find this piece. We're going to, the center that we found on the top is going to be the center here. You're going to clip it. This is a curve. You're going to be clipping in a curve. You're going to have to give it some give and take. You're going to clip this in a curve. I like to start with one side and just go with it. Just, it's gonna feel weird, but sometimes things being weird is not a bad thing. So we're gonna go on this side and clip it in a curve too. Remember, we're making a bucket bag, so it is not a square bag. It is a oval shaped bag. We're going to now clip this curve. We're going to sew in this curve at 1/8 of an inch. All right. All right, so we're going to do this next. We're going to find our center on here. Put a clip to hold it, clip it, have that piece go flying in the room. This is going to be interesting. You're going to have 1/4 of an inch longer on each side. You're going to be like, when you clip this, you're going to come back and be like, Shinova, what? Alexis, what? It says it in the pattern. You're hearing me telling you verbally, it's going to be 1/4 of an inch longer. There's a reason. So let's go. And this is a curve. You're going to need to clip it in a curve. I find it easier to work with the fabric away from me, and so I can curve the bag. It just works out. And then you can see that there's fabric that's going to be the excess fabric on the side, okay? The 1/4. Just like kind of bend it around your finger. Especially the thicker parts, just, you thought it was going to be the bag bottom, but it's actually this. It's funny because I'm giving you my tip. I kind of just like roll it into my hand, like just give it what it needs. It wants to naturally curve in, so clip it when it's curving. And it's to be just 1/4 of an inch. It's not a 1/2 inch. It's not a 3/8 of an inch. It's just a 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to take this zipper and just put a little clip there so it's out of the way. Now we're going to sew this at 3/8 of an inch. All right, we are going to trim, but we're not trimming the top. We're trimming the bottom layers to 1/8 of an inch. So then we're going to take this, we're going to flip this seam allowance down, and we're going to top stitch or under stitch. Now this is interesting. You're going to have to kind of, if you just do this, you're going to get crinkly. So you're going to have to flip it down and kind of pull it. And I know that doesn't sound right. When I had it said it in my head first, I was like, no, stop, don't say it like that. But we're here. So we're going to do it. We're going to top stitch. Back stitch to the beginning, and let's go. All right, we did it, yay. All right, so you did one, and magic, we did two. So when you have two, then come back here. You got this. So we're gonna now match again. Again, remember, matching is the hardest part to me. Once you match, get it clipped really well in place. Do not cut off that 1/4 of an inch overhang. It's supposed to be there. We're almost done, guys. We have a little bit of piecing the inside together, then we're going to be making it into the bag. All right, we are going to now sew this together. We're going to start at 3/8 of an inch, and then we're going to transition. We're going to stop at 3/8 inch, and we're going to transition to 3/8 inch. Again, it's going to feel funny because it's like you're kind of starting and stopping in a different location, but it's to make sure that everything fits in the bag nice and smoothly. Back stitch 3/8 of an inch, and then it's going to transition to it goes into a narrow one, but it looks weird, but it all pans out. It makes for a really nice lining, like a nice top lining. There's like no question of a baggy lining whatsoever. Flip it to the other side. All right. All right. So then from here, we are going to grab our lining. Okay, so we have our lining, and we're going to do it. We have our 4 corners, so let's start clipping. Same thing as before. I find my 4 points that are the center, the sides. Oh, you know what? We did not trim. So I'm doing the same thing. I kind of trim everything except the areas that I'm going to butterfly open to make it evenly distribute. One-eighth of an inch. Very roughly. I am the worst 1/8 of an inch seam cutter ever. Okay, kind of butterfly this seam open. And make sure you cut out all your pattern pieces right, because the bottom of the lining is a different pattern piece than the exterior. If you're having trouble getting it to fit, just double check that. I highly always recommend to read through the pattern, look at the pattern pieces, all that stuff before like sewing it, because sometimes the frustration that we cause can be just something as simple as just looking through all the pattern pieces or the cut chart. This one will be way easier to sew because of the simple fact that it's not only made with cotton, but it's waterproof canvas, so it's more like flexible. Okay, so we're going to sew this at 3/8 of an inch, and because it's so soft, I can sew it standing up. That's a huge difference. You can still lay it down if you wish, but it is very, very, very pliable, like very. Okay, we're almost around the river. Let's see. Again, I'm trimming it with my pinking shears. Also, because some of the materials are cotton, I just want to make sure pinking shears help things not fray, you know. All right. So we're going to put some double-sided tape on this and around. We're going to get top stitching, and then all we have to do is put the connectors on, and we are going to be finished. It's a fast project. There are things that you can take away to make it faster. I pretty much did everything except the rolled handles. And again, I'm sorry about that. As soon as I get the hardware in, I'm going to do like a special video on how you can do the rolled Oro Rosa rolled handles, because they look adorable and they don't look very complicated. And I'm a big fan of rolled handles. So we're going to remove the double-sided tape here. And you're going to fold down the top edge to go around the trim as well. To the top of the trim. So I'm rolling it to go to the top of the trim and not try to stick to my bag. Alright, I'm going to unlock this, and then I'm going to put double-sided tape. I'm going to do a dry fit test real quick and have the zipper go the right direction to make sure, if I have to adjust anything, to make sure if everything sits really nice. It's really nice. Alright, so what I'm going to do is put a double-sided tape on the bottom of this so I can get it stuck all together. And then I'm going to put clips. So on the bottom edge of this, of the trim. So I'm going to stick this in, and then I'm just going to line up side seams with side seams. And then start going around here, lining things up, making sure that this feels flat and there's not one seam that's slightly higher than the other. This could take some time, so just do this, unstick and stick until you feel comfortable. no, I have to unstick this. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so I had my zipper placket zipping to the right and not the left. It wasn't to my preference. Okay, so we're going to start with long tails, and we're going to pull our tails to the inside of the bag, or we're gonna have long tails. We're not going to back stitch. So we're going to sew. I'm sewing from the inside of the bag. Again, if you have a domestic machine or industrial machine that has a free arm, this will be your time to shine. If you don't, it's fine. You just stitch from the inside of the bag. Just trust your bobbin. We're doing 1/8 of an inch. And breathe. And just know, because the bag doesn't have like Peltex, I mean not Peltex, I'm sorry, like Decoville Heavy, it's a little bit more flexible. You have to stop, make sure it's in the needle down position. Just keep rolling it and moving it. If it takes a little longer, it's cool. Perfection doesn't happen overnight. All right, so we have our long tails, our extremely long tails. We're gonna kind of shift we're gonna get our threads and pull them through the center. As best as we can without tangling things up. I just need one more thread. And I'm just going in between and I got them. So I have my threads in between. I'm tying them off. I always feel like longer threads do better. You do have a chance of them like trying to shred, but it's a little bit easier. And then for some reason I can't find my fray check. So this is a trick that I learned. When I don't have my fray check and I have to deal with glue, if I'm going to be using like thicker glue, I'll put it on a needle and then stick it in. So I have better control over the glue. Does that make sense? All right, so now we're going to go over to the table and we're going to be doing some riveting and we're going to be talking about final things that we're going to do with the bag. All right, so our final steps for the bag. We're going to be putting our last zipper pull in. We're going to be putting our end cap in, and we're putting in our connectors. Like I told you, a lot of people in our group prefer to have just two or the two connectors, or there's some people that have the four. So the way that we have it is that the connectors let me move all this stuff. The connectors are supposed to slide on. I'm sorry, let me get the tape first. This part, you need to put some double-sided tape. Okay, you're supposed to fold it onto itself like on figure 203, and just make sure it is the same size. It'll just help you in the long run. Okay, and then you're supposed to take your D-ring, triangle, or whatever you have, and it's supposed to fold, and you're supposed to have a 1/4 of an inch left. Okay, from here you're supposed to measure a 1/4 of an inch up from here and punch holes. And from the top, a 1/2 inch. Okay, we need to do the same here. So you're going to fold this over. This needs to be about a 1/2 inch. I'm not 1/4 of an inch tail free. Okay. On the bottom, we're going 1/4 of an inch up. And on the top, we're going a 1/2 inch down. All right, so let's do a couple things. One, I'm using a little bit longer rivets. I find that helps tremendously. And they're going to be close to each other. Not too bad, but they'll be near each other. So I need 8 rivets. Okay. And I need 8 rivet caps. I find having a little longer rivets on here does help. So if you have like different sizes, I do think that that is a tremendous help. Okay. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to punch my holes a little bit more bigger than I normally do. We're going through multiple layers, and having the smallest, daintiest hole isn't what I'm going for. Okay, I'm going to punch these holes too. It sounds like bad popcorn popping or knuckles cracking. All right. Get these little, we're going to need to punch to mark our markings. So when we have these, we're going to be placing them on like this, and we're going to be wanting to mark our holes. At least first the bottom 2. The designer says, punch the holes for the first 2. The bottom 2, okay? Okay. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Mark the holes. I'm like the person that has a pen that it always goes missing. All right. So then you're going to want to thread the needle, not the needle, but thread the rivet for the first one. And do it for the second one too. And oops, I'm going to change out my die because this is a little bit bigger of a little bigger die. Make sure you have always like the right rivet dies in here when you're setting them. That can be an issue. One set. And then just get the other one ready. And this probably is going to be the longest part of your journey, but it's worth it. You have two. And then she said for the second one, she recommends you to punch your hole through with your second one so that you can do it. But a lot of people in our groups don't do a second one. They just do just the two. You can do just the two and not punch a hole for the second one. But if you want to do the second one, you can just go ahead and punch the second one. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put the second one in, and then I'll meet you back for the final touches. Okay, we're at the last moments of this bag. We're going to first put the zipper pull on and get whatever, when we punched holes out of here. You can put a zipper jig or however you like a fork. I just line them up, make sure they're even, and I kind of just snap them on. Nice and easy. I'm going to get some tape. But first, I'm going to just lightly singe the ends. Take some zipper tape or double-sided tape and fold it in on itself. And then grab a zipper end and get this in here as gently as possible. Take the screw get that in. Unzip it into this. We have this beautiful bag. We have two zipper pockets in here, two slip pockets, a nice recessed zipper. I'm going to put the crossbody body strap that we made in here. We have our nice flap, and it's not pulling too tight. It's perfect because we got the correct measurements. We have an adorable handle that's very unique. And we have the perfect bag to on the go. I think this bag is so adorable and it has endless possibilities. I think it's ready for the next season for fall. So if you have any questions in reference to this adorable bag, please let me know. If you haven't got the pattern for the Baby Belle bucket bag, the link will be down below. And if you want to see more Oro Rosa patterns, I'll link the playlist for Oro Rosa patterns in the description box. So I hope everyone has a wonderful day and have a great time stitching up this bag. See you later. Bye.